Hey guys, Table here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Bayern, the Tier 5 German battleship. I'm going to try something a little different with this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I have both Von Hipper and Ciliax at level 11, and I have them as mirrored builds so I can kind of compare and see which one does better for each ship as I'm going up the line. Meaning, for Von Hipper I have Ciliax and Cunningham as inspirations, and for Ciliax I have Von Hipper and Cunningham as inspirations. So really the only two things that are differing is the perks that each commander has, so that's allowing me to get a pretty good look at it here. Both of these are kind of brawly, close range games, which is why I kind of picked them both, so you can kind of compare and contrast fairly similar games, and you can kind of check out how each commander performs in those situations. First game, we got a domination mode game here on Shards. You'll notice they have 2 DDs, we have 1. And you kind of want to be keeping an eye on that. You know, if there's 5 DDs, then we're guaranteed to have at least 1 here. Rolling the dice a little bit, just kind of moving in to see if they do have a DD or not. And you can kind of tell by the fact that I'm not detected yet that at least the DD's not pushing into the base. So we're getting a little bit of intel just by looking at the team comps and then understanding the spotting mechanics of the game. So we're going to take a little bit of a shot there just to wake them up, let them know we're in the game. But I'm kind of trying to encourage my 2 cruisers to get onto this cap because their team's pushing hard to the right. Now, what I'm trying to do in my mind is kind of position myself so I can cover both the area in front of us in case they turn around and go back the other way. But I also want to get a nice clean shot through that gap. And if these cruisers aggressively get on that capture point, they can capture it quickly. I can kind of cover both flanks of them just by positioning myself roughly about here. I'm going to move forward just a little bit, as you see. But the New Mexico seems to be slowing down or stopping, so we're just going to keep, putting shots on them. I can't see them, obviously, and it looks to be fairly well angled, but never hurts to take those shots anyways. Now the guns on the Bayern are 380 millimeters compared to 381 in the Queen Elizabeth, so it's basically tied for highest at the tier. They're quite punchy. With Von Hipper running the show, they're quite accurate. Ciliax, you still have decent accuracy, but you'll definitely notice some difference, especially at longer range here. Now the Myoka's punched through. Everyone on my team, or everyone in the zone, I should say, is focused in on him. He kind of hit the little breaks, or he might have been going 3/4 just to throw off our aim there, and looks like he got away relatively unscathed. I was hoping to pop him in the jaw and get him off the board there. But I'm primarily angling towards the New Mexico, and I'm aware that this guy has torps and he's at an angle where he's likely launched them, so I'm keeping an eye on both of those factors. Nuremberg comes along, same trajectory, same heading. He's fully broadside. We launched a shot, and he gone! So that's the end for him. And we do get the first kill of the game. And I'm still pushing forward, again angling at the New Mexico, but I'm trying to get around this island enough to see if I can get one more volley on this Myoko. He could potentially cause problems if the New Mexico continues to spot us and he finds a little spot over these islands and able to rain down HEs. So if I'm able to get one more salvo off, good. And we did do that successfully. Shots away, and he gone! That's right, 2 devastating strikes right off the bat. So 64k damage, maybe 5 of it was pot shots against this New Mexico, but absolutely wrecked both those cruisers. And obviously you don't know who the opposing players have in the Bayern, in terms of Von Hipper's Ciliax. But you do need to respect this ship. I mean, it can be fairly accurate here. You'll see some of these salvos like that one, you get a little bit of dispersion. And it's kind of random from shot to shot, but a lot of those salvos are quite accurate. And keep in mind, I do have Cunningham level 16, +1, I believe. So, I mean, in terms of inspirations, that tightens up the precision as much as you can really go, at least at this point in the game. Legendary 2 will add just a fraction of a percent or whatever it is. But right here, I'm trying to basically punch through the guns, and you see we land a shot there. Because I can tell he's not inclined to open up his entire ship to us. So knocking out that gun, and I believe he was putting out fires, or he used his damage count to put out fires that these guys had on him. So I think that front gun is disabled. And I'm just going to continue to shoot at that. You can also aim down a little bit. Now that he's aggressively moving towards us, you can see I aim a little bit lower. American battleships, heavily armored on the sides, lightly armored on the front, and we just whiffed that shot just a little bit. You can see I aimed a little aggressively too much in front of him. But we're going to try that shot again here, and we'll demonstrate the... I'm not 100% sure on the IO, but the other tier 3 through 6 ships, you can definitely punch through these noses here. So now he's backing up. I guess we'll get the front shot here in a little bit, but backing up again, I'm just trying to pop these guns and make sure that he can't really damage us. And by aiming at those guns, if you go high, you'll hit some superstructure and get some incidental damage. Here, we're kind of getting in a little bit of a pickle. The New Mexico needs to be eliminated quickly because you can see I'm in basically a crossfire. I got this ship to my clear broadside of my left. I'm pretty well angled at the New Mexico. He's still the closest threat to me, so he's the one I need to be focused on. But I also have the 2 battleships that are kind of northeast on the map and just kind of, you know, at about my ship's 12 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock. You can see a lot of shots coming in. So the New Mexico needs to be dealt with, but again, I'm trying to primarily hold my angle against him. You see I zoom in on that ship to my left there a couple times. I'm checking the turrets, and he was aimed the other way towards C, so that gives me a little bit of leeway. Here the ship's moving forward again, so this is more of a well-aimed shot. And you'll see what I'm talking about here, punching through these nose sections of these USN battleships. Very lightly armored compared to the rest of the scheme, and we're able to just punch right through there, so don't ignore that shot. I don't know, cruisers, depending on the AP and the penetration of your ship, might not be as reliable of a shot, but battleships, don't hesitate to take that shot if you think you have the accuracy at the range that you're at to hit that. Now looking at the map briefly, I have ships at my roughly 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Again, this is not an ideal situation because you can't really angle against multiple angles. The northward ship was eliminated, and the Bayern is my target of choice. And why that is because it's the furthest one to my right. If I open up to shoot at that Fuso, meaning I turn my ship more left to get my guns on that ship, then the Bayern has a clear shot at the broadside. So because this one's the furthest to right, I can angle to him. That leaves my nose pointed straight at the Fuso. He can't really do much at me. Bayern may get some decent pens at this range. You know, he's landing shots, but, you know, we're able to angle somewhat well against him and continue to land shots. At this point, here's a little bit of a mistake. I thought the Bayern was moving through the island enough where he wouldn't be able to hit me. I popped the heel thinking I can take a shot or two at the Fuso. But you can see, by this time, I'm already thinking, crap, I screwed up because the reload is not going to be through by the time that ship pulls through. You can see I'm aiming right where that rock kind of ends, just to see if I can sneak one in the back section. But the Bayern does stick out and pop me in the side, so a little bit of a misplay there. I don't know if the Bayern hit the brakes or if I just misjudged the angle, but either way, good shot for him. But that was a fairly brawly Von Hipper game, and I'm going to compare that to the Ciliax game on a ring, which is, again, a fairly close range brawly game. Now, as we're kind of loading into this game and getting into position, I'll just say the Kaiser Koenig Bayern, if you have both, I would say Von Hipper is the better commander for these ships, in my opinion. The secondaries are better than the other battleships at the tier, yeah, but they're not game-changing. If you have destroyers rushing you, or if you're in really close quarter situations, fine, they might help you out a little bit, but for the most part, Von Hipper will really tighten up the accuracy. I've gotten a couple comments on some of my earlier German battleship videos saying, wow, how can you, what's up with that dispersion? It doesn't look like anything like mine. It's just it's a level 11 Von Hipper, which the perk 1 is fully maxed if you have rank 1 legendary, which is what I'm at. And then I think there's another accuracy boost at level 3, you know, so Von Hipper does definitely tighten up the spreads on these. Ciliax is serviceable, as you'll see here. I mean, we're going to be taking some shots, both longer range and close range, but in my opinion, the secondaries aren't impressive enough on these ships to spec out a build with those in mind. You know, I have had good success with both builds, I will say that. but my personal preference would be von Hipper between the two. So right now we're just kind of getting into position. I do want to anchor this. This is kind of the weak side for our team's spawn on this map. You can see they kind of outnumber us over here, but I'm just going to try and look for broadsides and start laying down the laws as much as we can here. And we blast that guy right off the bat. I mean, you can see, you know, pretty good damage against that Phoenix Landa Citadel. And again, I'm not being aggressive. They do have DDs over here. Obviously that smoke is in play, you know, letting me know the destroyers in the area. But there's no reason to be aggressively moving at this point. You can see I'm just basically stopped and fluctuating between barely moving and moving backwards, so that's fine. Here's the alarm clock going off. This is kind of the nice thing about the secondaries, is they alert you to incoming threats that you might not be paying attention to if you're sighting targets on your screen instead of looking at the map when this destroyer pops up. You know, those things start popping off, and immediately, if you hear your secondaries going off, spring into action, you know, punch the throttle up. Acosta pays a heavy price there. And you'll see, I mean, secondaries are fine, but main guns are the main guns for a reason. You know, they do not become secondary guns just because you spec out your ship to maximize your secondary's effectiveness. And you can actually see our ships firing on multiple ships here with the secondaries, so, you know, all's good. But I will note that Ciliax, his Porcupine, which is the primary perk booster to the secondaries, gets another boost at level 12, so if you were playing Ciliax, I would get him to level 12 as soon as you get the promotion orders and the, well, you should have the commander's experience, but promotion orders. That'll kind of take you to the next level. I'm not quite there yet on this build, and it's not my highest priority at this point. Level 11's good enough for my purposes. So at this point, you know, we do have multiple ships around here. I do have some support, but it's getting a little thin over here. It feels like, at least in my mind, but I'm just trying to maintain the angle against the closest battleship and keeping the nose, if possible, to the other threats in the area. They do disable the gun. I wasn't inclined to damage con that fire, but the gun on battleships, when they disable guns, I almost always just instantly damage con those, unless it's a very precarious situation, which you can definitely make the argument that this is, but you know, I need all the firepower I can get at this point in time. I got some guys that are supporting me, but it doesn't really feel like it in the heat of the moment. So, and again, secondaries are going off. Some of them are doing damage. I mean, primarily what you're trying to do with the secondaries is start fires, which will either burn their damage control, or if they've already used it, then you're going to get some secondary source of damage, which will help your main guns whittle down the targets. Ciliax's main appeal to me as a battleship commander is really this extra heal that you get for perk number 4. I believe if it's maxed out, you actually get 2 extra heals, which would put you at 5. That's extremely valuable. I mean, it makes the life of your battleship, you know, go up dramatically. And that, I should have noticed that Farragut was about to beach. I was just not really paying attention as much as I should have, so I let him kind of as much as I normally would have, but I don't think I could have killed him with, I think it was one gun that I had on the off reload, but still would like to get the extra damage. But you can see, I mean, this is Ciliax, no boost to accuracy besides Cunningham, and we're still hitting these destroyers at various ranges. I mean, this isn't 15-kilometer shots, but I wouldn't say Ciliax is horrible on his own. And the Bayern, I think, just in general, has pretty good accuracy compared to some of the German battleships I played further down the line. But keep in mind, I do have that Cunningham as the inspiration that's tightening up those spreads a little bit. And again, we're trying to angle to the biggest threat in terms of guns. This guy, he's out of my torpedo. I'm out of his torpedo range, so I don't really have to be too afraid of him. And if he wants to shoot me in the side with HE, that really doesn't bother me. You know, that's fine. But we'll just go ahead and eliminate him. And at this point, the game is pretty effectively won. We have 3 bases to their 1, and obviously we've only lost 1 ship, whereas they've lost 7. So not exactly worried about the outcome at this point. torp indicator goes off. You see I don't even pay any attention to it. I was, I think, 7 or 8 kilometers away from that guy. I think the Farragut's torp range is probably 6, 5.5, 6, somewhere in that range. So the more you can kind of know roughly what the ships do. I don't memorize every number on every ship, but you can kind of get a feel for the ships as you play them. And that's one of the reasons I kind of recommend everyone try to play is all the lines. You know, you play all the ships you can. You'll just get a good feel for their capabilities. And that's also why I always recommend, even if you're not interested in playing like a premium or a particular ship, if you got access to videos like this one or other videos that other people make and you check them out, you should be able to get a good feel for what the ship's capable of. And that helps when you go against it, you know. And here this Koenig, he's basically doing the exact same thing that New Mexico was in the first game, well, until now. I mean, he's trying to get some more guns on target here, but if he was going to go nose into me, I was just going to pop him in the guns. And at this point, it looks like he's trying to ram me, but I figure between whoever's shooting at him, me, and the secondaries going off, I'm not too afraid of being rammed there. So that's the look at the Bayern, both with Von Hipper and Ciliax. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions for me, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. Alright, peace.